A garden of pure ideology.
Yeah, just your typical Super Bowl car ad.
Or a hilarious beer ad.
Break was over 15 minutes ago, Mitch!
I think you're the best ever.
I think we're going to be here a while.
Welcome back to Filmmakers in Advertising. Yes, the voice is different today. I'm Justin Rossbacher, standing in for Cody Wilson, and I'm honored to host today's guest, as he is the embodiment of the title of our podcast. He got started by making his own films and continues to do so today. His latest film on the housing affordability crisis, entitled Fault Lines, debuted at the Big Sky Film Festival this past February. Who is this man? It's Nate Houghteling, a filmmaker and the co-founder of Portal A, an award-winning branded and original content company. Since launching Portal A over 15 years ago, he has directed and executive produced a wide variety of projects, from high-profile branding campaigns to award-winning YouTube series to feature films, all geared towards galvanizing a new generation of viewers. So yeah, that's a fancy way of saying this guy's doing it. When I said a moment ago that he's the embodiment of the title Filmmakers in Advertising, I meant it. And I think what makes Nate particularly unique from most of our guests is he didn't come up through the traditional advertising and marketing avenues. He never worked at one of the big, or small for that matter, ad agencies, nor has he worked at one of the big or small production houses. He started making films on his own with his friends, and they started a business together, and now after 15 successful years in business, they are still making high-end work, like their current web series starring NBA star Anthony Edwards. Well, I could go on, but he'll tell you more about it. So, let's get into the interview now. All right. If we could just get you to, for our audience, just introduce yourself.
My name is Nate Houghteling. I am a filmmaker and the co-founder of Portal A. We are a content company, an award-winning content company that specializes in premium content for digital and social platforms.
Awesome. Yeah, when I was doing research on you, I was really considering, I was like, I think Nate is probably the embodiment of our ideal guest for the title of Filmmakers in Advertising. So you embody both. Sometimes we're leaning more towards like the advertising agency side, interviewing creative directors. Sometimes we're leaning more on the filmmaker side, interviewing a director or cinematographer. So you seem to have that blend of being a filmmaker right now and also using that filmmaking for your particular variation of how it incorporates into advertising. So I'm interested in how that got started. Which started first, filmmaking, the advertising, a little bit of both? Was it accidental? Yeah, just tell me a little bit about that story.
Yeah, I guess the very deep origin story is that my grandfather started his own advertising agency in New York at the height of the Mad Men era. I think they were one of the first like Jewish run advertising agencies on Madison Avenue. So James Fischel, very important in my life. But yeah, in my own career,
right on Madison Avenue as well.
Yeah, I think they were actually on Mad Men, Madison Avenue.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's incredible. One of my favorite shows, by the way. It's up there.
Oh, so good.
It's
So
so
good.
well
Nothing has topped it since. Um, and yeah, so in college, I started to get interested in filmmaking, entering into, 24-hour film competitions. And it was around the same.
Did you ever do like the 48-hour film festivals? And
Yes. I mean, it was a long time ago, but we definitely did it. I remember going to a festival, going to a screening, and like not having our thing shown that we'd worked so hard on, and being like, "Oh gosh, this was the worst 48 hours of my life." No, but
Wow.
yeah, it was. You learn a lot, and I love the collaborative aspect of it. I'm not someone that can really just stare at a blank page and just create. Like I really like that associative, collaborative process.
As far as the
So
filmmaking itself,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
kind of like when I was charting my career and what I wanted to be doing like every day. It was like working in small groups, making dreams come true somehow. I was totally hooked by that experience, and also in college worked on one of the first vlogs, first like web series with my now partner Kai Hassan. He was also in college, and we just kind of went back and forth on scripts and whatnot. And that was pre YouTube pretty much. So it shows you how far back it goes.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Um,
And what did that contain?
Oh yeah, it was called. It had the strange name of Bathtub Yoga, and it was a
Love it.
scripted web series. Kind of like a sitcom about two bloggers in Brooklyn. And so the website that contained the episodes had their blogs, like their posts, and also the episodes to watch. It was kind of like an immersive, like different type of storytelling
Okay. Did it like
vibe.
take off? Did it get like this following, or
Um,
was it an
Not
experiment? You moved
really. It
on?
was
Like,
it was an
yeah.
experiment and moved on. It was part of like a early network that Kai had been a part of and launched of different web series like this.
Hmm.
He was in film school. I was just studying like American history and literature, so I was not really in the film world yet. But that he knew that was going to be his career, so he was experimenting with it. And then right after college, we went to Vietnam and made a web series called Huge in Asia that
Okay.
was no, this was 2008 maybe, and YouTube I think started in 2005 or something like that. So it was like, or maybe 2006. So it was still very early on, and this, now we were making stuff that was made for the internet, and internet video was like really starting to peak. And so or yeah, the wave was starting to crest. So that show really did take off and had like a cult following. It was like travel 5-minute episodes of us traveling through Asia and comedy sketches and travel vlogs
Okay.
and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that was really fun.
And you
And
were starring in it yourself too. You were the
yeah, yeah,
creators
yeah.
and the stars, and
For
it's kind of,
sure. For
yeah.
the first like 5 years on, we were too broke to pay anyone to be in it, nor and too shameless. So we were in all of the content. We were like the early, basically pre-YouTube creator in some way.
Yeah. Would you have like
Um,
one camera and you hand it off to each other? Do you have like two, or?
yes, yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes. I remember, in fact, right before we left for that trip in Asia, we were going shopping at B&H or wherever for camera equipment, and we like wanted to get a monopod, and we were like so psyched about this monopod, and then we are like, wait a second, what if we both want to be in the shot? And we're like, yeah,
That's funny. That's very funny.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
idiots we were. Yeah, so we launched this series, and it got back home, got written up in the Chronicle, our paper in the Bay, and people were signing our guest book and emailing us about it, and it just felt like this new, just so liberating to do something that could reach people immediately and people can interact with and respond to.
And
So
and the
that
guest
was
book
kind
was
of
like a
how I got
digital
hooked.
guest book, like on your website
Yes,
or something.
yes.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
those early, all that early internet stuff is so great, and I have so much nostalgia for it. But yeah, those internet guest book used to be such a thing.
Oh man. No, there was
Yeah.
there was an era, especially before the algorithms seemed to like take over as far as like serving up content, which I see the benefit of that too, because there's so
Yeah.
much content then to be able to filter in and have somebody work for you. But yeah, just to be able to post on someone's profile and literally it's just the top one because it's the most recent one, and your feed
Yeah.
was the most recent feed. And some people talked about like letterbox is kind of like and harkening back to a
Yes.
previous time of the internet.
It does kind of feel like the good internet and the letterboxes capture that somehow, but very positive vibes.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so continue with the story. Sorry.
Yeah, so we can speed up the story, but basically, we made this travel show in Asia. Zach, who's my third partner, we also knew each other since we were 5 years old. He joined us on that trip as well, and we traveled around, made this show, sold a lot of the episodes to Lonely Planet, the travel guidebooks. We were like, oh my gosh, there's like even a business here. This is the greatest thing ever. And we came back. I worked at News Corporation in New York. Zach worked in politics, and Kai worked at Current TV.
Okay.
And that only lasted for a year. And we were like, the companies where we're working are not taking this new revolution in digital content seriously enough, and there's definitely a creative life to be made there, probably a business, but we weren't sure what the business was. And so we left our jobs, Kai and I first, and then Zach soon after, and we just jumped into it. And early on, we were making web series, this big one called White Collar Brawler, which was like a boxing.
Yeah, I saw that on IMDb.
Nice. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was kind of like a real time, again, digital episodes, where Kai and I were training off the couch to fight each other. And it sort of prefigured all the like Logan Paul, all the craziness that's happening with like creators boxing now, but it was like super indie, super, um, kind of,
Yeah, you're like self-funding this. You're just doing it.
pretty much.
You don't
Yeah,
have any
we're
like
just
brand
doing it.
partners or anything, or
No,
Yeah.
we had a spreadsheet of like 3,000 brand partners, zero of whom responded to our emails. But yeah,
So you had the spreadsheet, you had your contacts,
Yeah.
you had a little checkbox
Yes.
saying, "Did we reach out to them once, twice, three
yes,
times?"
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And no one ever even
Check it in.
responded.
No. We did. We got a lot of people to like send us gear, which we thought was awesome.
Oh, okay, all right.
And I think we got a couple checks for $1,000 or whatever for, and we actually raised money through live events. The final fight was a live event, where
Okay.
it was ticketed, and we did workouts and stuff like that. So it was kind of an interesting model, but we
But you're doing
couldn't
this
make a career out
full
of it.
time at this point in time.
Yes. So we left our jobs. We're doing this full time, and
Are you
when
living off of a significant other's income, or just trust
Yeah.
fund? You just savings? What? How does that work?
Well, early on, I might be getting the timing. I forget which came first, but right when we left our jobs, it was because we had our first client, which was
Okay.
a education company that wanted to make these things called vocab videos, basically flashcards for the SAT, but in video form, where
Okay.
actors would act out like what exogenous means or whatever. And
Okay. I
so,
feel like I would remember and learn
Yes,
faster if I
exactly.
saw
Yeah.
something acted out. Yeah.
and again, too broke to hire anyone, so we acted in like most of those videos.
Okay. Wow.
And yeah, so we started to.
How many hours of content did you create for them? If like it seems like that would be very time intensive.
It was insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 500 videos,
Wow.
and they were each 30 seconds long. So, I mean, yeah, it would be the runtime of like Roots or something like that. I mean, it's just purely an insane amount of content.
And where did that connection come from? Is this one of the three of you all? They find you. You found this person.
It was like my cousin's husband was the
Okay.
founder of this SAT tutoring company.
Okay.
And was like, oh, these guys make videos, and we've been looking for an excuse to quit our jobs, and so we just kind of
And this is around
screw it.
2012, 2013, or
No, that was so yeah. I guess the timeline is 2007, 8. We did huge in Asia, and we're in Vietnam, and then like 8, 9, we had desk jobs for all of 5 seconds, and then 2010, I think. is when
2010.
Yeah,
that
2010, 2011.
we have. I graduated college in 2007, and we started our company in 2007. So it's
Nice.
like we're like right aligned in that
Yes,
time period, and
yes.
we changed the cities in 2010, and so yeah. We got a lot of jobs because no one knew how to do video, and there's like so and so does
Totally.
video,
Yes,
you know.
yes,
It's like
yeah, you're the video
yeah.
guy. Yeah, where there's a lot of that.
Yeah. Okay, so your cousin's husband connection
Yes.
got you the
Yes.
flashcard
Very
thing, which you had been
nepotistic. Right.
dreaming of being able to get such a client.
Yeah, we needed an excuse to
Yeah.
make the leap, and something to tell our families that we were on solid ground.
Yeah.
And we weren't at all. But yeah, for
I'm guessing you guys made it fun though. Like I guess you got
Oh,
to
yeah.
mixing skits and just
yeah, it was a blast. We turned them into little. They were like 20 episodes in a row connected into like a storyline about crazy characters and
Yeah.
adventures and like that. It was fun.
yeah.
And then when we did White Collar Brawler, and then we made a couple of videos through White Collar Brawler that were actually promotional to that show. And those like really went viral, like back in the early days of YouTube when going viral was completely a thing.
Mm-hmm.
One was this video, Don't Stop Believing, which was like a Journey remake for the San Francisco Giants when they went to the World Series. And yeah, we kind of like got some local buzz for the show and for some individual videos. And then we started to get legit brands come to us and be like, these guys know video, they know YouTube, or they know how to make things pop somehow. And so, let's hire them to make ads for us.
Okay. So you had completed both seasons of the show by this point in time, by the time you're being called by brands?
Yeah, this was like at the end of White Collar Brawler, we were like ready to jump into our next web series,
Yeah.
and that's when brands started to call us. Gap,
Okay.
Benefit Cosmetics, some
Because you were
startups.
being discovered because of your YouTube popularity.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
And
I
discovered
gotcha.
because of the popularity and kind of thought of as valuable because we had this expertise that very few people had around um, understanding these digital platforms and what makes things
Yeah,
go
totally.
on them.
You
Yeah.
were, I mean, not influencers in the sake of the day, but in some ways that
Right.
way because you were just creating content that was having a
Yeah.
following, therefore made you valuable because of your
Yes.
expertise in this. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's very similar to like an influencer creator.
Yeah.
Definitely. And so, yeah, that's when we decided that these branded content and advertising was going to be a big part of our business. It ended up being the business. I mean, the
Right.
driving force behind it. But that sort of happened over time. But
Well, those early days, like when Gap's calling you, were you making just like a one-off ad for them, or you were making content, or what?
yeah, it ran the gamut. The Gap, for example, one video I remember was like a video about their maternity leave policy. Just like, you know, an internal video from the for
Okay.
the comms team, like that kind of thing. We did a lot of
Okay.
that. And then for like Benefit Cosmetics and other brands that I think are more common early work was you know the video but also something that's gonna do well and people are gonna share so
Okay.
um
So that as
those were
well.
more like branded content early like branded
Yeah.
viral videos back when that was more of a
Yeah.
thing.
Because I'm
Yeah.
just like imagining the first example you gave is so fascinating to me. I'm like, oh, look at these guys that had this reality thing about two guys trying to train to fight each other. Let's hire them to do our maternity benefits video for internal.
Yeah, yeah, when you put it like that, yeah, right, right, I
Okay.
know it's comical but
Yeah.
sometimes the ball just bounces your way and you're making a maternity video. One of the early videos we did was for Bonobos, the pants brand that was one of
Okay.
a friend of mine was the founder of it. And I remember we made a video with a monkey that then they got like the PETA community coming after them and it was like exploding and we had to like take it down within 24 hours because they got so much blowback. So yeah, it
Okay.
was it was the Wild West and we were just kind of flying by the seat of our pants.
Gotcha. So you went
Yeah.
in and out. You sounded like you had an evolution of trying and servicing in a lot of different style
Yeah.
video content and creation, but then you started to shift towards content, basically, and partnering with celebrities and brands, or
Yeah, yeah, that the big kind of turning point or moment of clarity for us that happened probably 3 or 4 years later in the story was, we were making videos. Most of them had humor behind them.
hmm
Some of them popped off and, had 20 press stories written about them. Some of them were on YouTube with 103 views. Uh, and we were like, this is not sustainable. Like, we can't just kind of make stuff and hope it does well. Like we're gonna lose clients. It's gonna drive us crazy. So, that was when the YouTube creator community was kind of becoming more formalized, and people were understanding the power of talent as its own type of distribution. And
Yeah.
so we sort of we made a conscious decision that we were no longer just going to put up a video on a channel with 0 subscribers and hope for the best. We were going to partner with talent,
Okay.
um, big creators, celebrities, to co-create something with them, have it live on their channel, work for their audience, also work for a brand, and then we would be guaranteed like 20,000 views. We wouldn't be, no more like 103 view videos.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I gotcha. So
Yeah.
just to clarify, and I'm gonna just kind of recap some things. This is also just for our audience too, is listening. You didn't ever work in the traditional ad industry, like you didn't work for one of the major
Saatchi
ad,
and Saatchi.
yeah, Saatchi and Saatchi or anything like that. You guys just kind of started from the ground up, making your own content and continued to evolve in the specific kind of niche. Is that kind of accurate? Or
Absolutely accurate. Yeah. And I
yeah,
think it served us really well because we came at it from the making side of it, the content side of it, rather than what does the client want? What does the brand want? We could be making a billboard or a 30-second spot or a YouTube video, which is I think what a lot of agencies, how they start that conversation. We only made one thing and we got super good
mm,
at it in this
yeah,
very through this kind of like 10,000 hours type process, and then we were really confident in our abilities when brands started to come to us.
yeah, that makes sense. Now, I'm interested to know both in, so it's a two-pronged question there as far as because you didn't have the traditional experience, what are some stories where you felt like you had to like learn on the job and like you felt like an idiot at times? And then what are the stories that really set you apart where they're like, oh my gosh, that would have never come from, one of those standard companies that we talked to?
Gosh, the stories of failures could and missteps could fill up 100,000 podcasts. But I mean, early on, we just invested so much time in opportunities that had a zero likelihood of happening, like actually zero. And I remember just killing ourselves over making a deck for a lead we had with Oracle or that we thought we had, and just going to the mat and like doing
Hmm.
all this free work. And then not only did it, we got a no, we just didn't get any response. It's just like just evaporated. Like we had never met the person. We're not even sure if it was, we thought we fabricated the whole thing because we were just so eager for those first like breakthrough opportunities. And yeah, I think you have to hustle like that, but we just didn't understand the process of like a lead and qualifying it, and where to spend your time and business development. We were
Mm,
really just like alley cats, just living hand to mouth.
yeah, well, I can relate to that at times. Has there been times
Yeah.
on like the client side where a client's like coming with you and they're using terminology and you realize you don't know what they're talking about because it's like a industry jargon that you weren't familiar with, or
um I think there was some of that. I mean, client services as an entire discipline is something we had no background in, and we made a lot of mistakes sending an email on a thread that we thought was an internal email and putting our foot in our mouth and
mm,
like that kind of thing. But I think the flip side of it was also that our clients, they liked the quote unquote scrappy approach
okay,
because both from a financial perspective, they were just tired of the bloat of an advertising agency and paying people who aren't actually making the thing to
mm,
just dress it up. And also just getting down to brass tacks, like what are we actually making? How are we going to make it? Who's going to be in it? Rather than a pie in the sky, very abstract, creative deck, a Mad Men style pitch that is just so, kind of ethereal. I think
okay,
people like that we actually made stuff.
yeah, nice. Well, very nice. And then, as far as like on your day to day, you had mentioned before we were on recording that you guys used to have a location in person, but now you're fully remote now. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, we are. We had an office from the pretty much the time we started our business, maybe a couple years after. I think our first office was in like 2013 or something like that, and then we
Hmm.
had it through the pandemic, and we ended up giving it up in 2021 or
Hmm.
some time around there, and went fully remote, and it's been really successful for us. I mean, I was a deep skeptic of it, and we still do some in-person work at WeWorks like once a every other week, or
Okay.
around that cadence, but
Yeah.
yeah, we're basically fully remote.
Yep. Same for us. We have our co-working times that we spend together. At our
Nice.
version of the rework, ours is Bond Collective. There's this amazing, gorgeous space here in Bushwick.
Oh, I think I've heard about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
it's great. It's multiple floors. The top floor's got tons of windows and skylights, and it's just
That's
it's a
awesome.
great vibe and great experience. So yeah, we've learned. We were all in one location in Virginia for a long while. We had this gorgeous space, but then it was actually just before the pandemic, like 6 months before the pandemic. Cody moved to Austin. I moved to New York, and my business partner stayed there in Virginia, and then we just became remote at that point in time. And so, yeah, what are the things that you miss, and what are the benefits that you see as far as working remote?
Um, yeah, I think the benefits of working remote are pretty clear, just in terms of how you can structure your own day. And what I found getting out of the office is just how much more productive I am during certain hours.
Hmm.
Um, when you're not just thinking of it as like a 9 to 6 block, but you're thinking of it as like a 9 to 10, then take a little break and work, later in the day, you can really start to get precise about when you should be doing
Hmm.
certain tasks. And for me, the morning is really the only time I can do creative things. And the rest of the day is just for emailing or like zoning out and not being productive at all. So, um, yeah, I think that it's been nice to just take ownership of an individual day in that way. Yeah, I think the things I miss are collaboration. Like, let's jump into a conference room and figure this out. Let's have a prolonged brainstorm where, maybe the first hour isn't that productive, then you break through and then you have the moment. I feel like when we're on Zoom and something isn't landing like immediately, you're kind of like, oh, this is terrible. Let's get out of here as quickly as possible. So, yeah, I think
That's
there's definitely benefits, but for us, the only drawbacks, but the benefits have outweighed them.
yeah. Those overlap with the benefits and drawbacks that I have found. The classic maker in the morning, manager in the afternoon.
Oh, interesting. I
You've
haven't heard
heard that
that. That's
term,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like it overlaps for you there.
Yeah.
One of our directors, he's big into that. Like, just start early in the morning. If he's got an edit and or a writing session or something like that, then doesn't
Yeah.
open email, nothing. Like, he just gets in the
Good.
zone, and then later on in the day he opens it back up. So we'll kind
That's
of
great.
vary that up. All right. So what I think I was given a little bit of a lead on this, but what's the big project right now that's going on or going to be rolled out?
Yeah, I have two big projects that I've been shepherding and are landing around the same time. One is a feature documentary that we financed entirely independently through grants and private donations, and it's on the housing crisis, called Fault Lines. And it's a 80-minute doc that dives into the housing crisis we're having in especially progressive cities around the country through the lens of San Francisco, which has been uniquely and so acutely impacted.
Yeah.
Um, and
Has that been in
so
festivals yet, or you doing the festival racket now? Yeah.
Yeah, we debuted at the Big Sky Film Festival
Okay.
in Missoula, Montana. Had a phenomenal experience. It was just
Good.
10 out of 10. And now we're doing a bunch of community screenings, and we're going to be releasing in April 1st.
Okay. And is it a
Yeah.
like a self distribution release, or are you working with a distribution house?
Yeah, it's going to be self-distributed. We're working with a Film Hub, which is a kind of distribution platform, and we found it to be really great. And just getting on, it'll be for rent on pretty much every service. So yeah, people can watch it where they are.
Yeah, I'm semi-familiar with that. We have a feature that's about to be released as well.
Nice.
Not a documentary. And our main investor partner on that is been very up on his self-distribution methods, not wanting to rely
Great.
on certain external factors that you can control or not control, how much they're actually putting into marketing and or where the money is flowing. So that one, they just kind of take a certain percentage for properly like distributing it everywhere. Is that kind of
Exactly.
how it works?
Yeah, but it's a fairly low percentage,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, you're allowed to just upload it in one place and then have it distributed pretty much
Okay.
everywhere. We really were trying to get a New York screening together, but it just didn't happen.
Mm.
We're gonna be screening in DC in a couple weeks.
And then you have something
Yes,
else in the works.
the other project is a series with Anthony Edwards, the basketball player,
Yeah.
and Ant is part of this wave of celebrities and athletes that are turning into creators in their own right, and he's really leaning into his YouTube channel, and we're partnering with him through our our investor is a company called Wheelhouse Entertainment. They have an overall deal with Ann and his team at Three Fifths Media, and so we're doing like the flagship YouTube series. It's called Year Five. It's a follow doc series about in season, like what's happening off the court in his life, and it's a cool hybrid between uh, Drive to Survive or Match Point or one of these sports docs
Yeah.
on Netflix and like a YouTube vlog. It's accessible, it's youthful, it's really fun, and Ant is just like the best talent, most charismatic, coolest dude. So we've had a lot of fun with that.
That's cool. And is it partnering with like brands and such that are like either sponsoring it and or placed in
Yeah,
it,
so we
things?
self-financed it to start out, but we just got a title sponsor across the whole series. So
Nice.
Underdog, which is like a fantasy app, is sponsoring the series. So we kind of stopped at the story somewhere in like 2018, but what you know the way that Portalay has evolved is as a branded content partner for Fortune 100 companies. We work with Target and Google and Lenovo. And the primary way we work with them is to do these big premium releases on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok with creators, in partnership with creators. So, we just had a big campaign launching with Lenovo today where we work with two gaming creators. We rented out a castle in England and they did a gaming competition inside the
Mm,
castle, live streamed the whole thing, and we made like a lot of content from it. So it's those big activations that live primarily on YouTube and social with
okay.
brands. So that's the core of our business. And then we also do originals. That's the documentary or this Anthony Edwards series, things that we develop ourselves and find a way to get out into the world. We have this program called Moonshots that where we're incubating and putting our money where our mouth is and doing a lot of pilots to series like
Oh,
that. And
nice.
yeah, so but in terms of the business, in terms of you look at our P&L, it's primarily branded content.
Okay, I gotcha. And as far as how do those come out? Is Lenovo coming to you and saying like, "Hey, we want to do something, and we have some specific celebrities in mind," or they say we want to do something, and you're like, "Well, how about these people?" Or are you pitching them, or like, how does that come out?
Yeah, mostly the RFP or the brief when it comes to us will be around what the brand is trying to do, what they're trying to say, who they're trying to say it to, what the moment is, what the opportunity is. Sometimes talent will be part of that, but mostly it's just open and they know the platform and the audience. And then it's on us to put together the creative, the distribution, and part of the distribution is the talents. And so we have a talent team
Mhm.
that is working with the top 500 creators on YouTube primarily and other platforms, but primarily YouTube to be coming up with exactly the right talent for the right opportunity and then bringing them into the process so we can
Okay.
it really works for their audience.
Now, are they already a client by this point in time, or are you having to triple bid or win it or anything like that?
Yeah, most of our projects are competitive. Our bids are competitive with, two or three other agencies. Sometimes when we have a partner that we've been working with, like a Target or others for many years, sometimes it'll just be a continuation of their project, and so that'll just be us to win or to it to not happen at all. But yeah, mostly it's competitive.
Okay, I gotcha. So is it still, do you have any like clients of record, or is your example there about the closest as far as just like an ongoing project?
Yeah, it's all project based. We've never
Oh,
done a retainer model, and I don't think we will in the foreseeable future. That's
okay.
just how we like to work.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So what if you were to go back and talk to your younger self, knowing everything that you know now, what kind of advice would you give?
Yeah, if I were to go back to my younger self and give them a pep talk or give them some advice, it's that the narrative that you have written in your mind, it can be useful because it's going to inspire you to work hard, but it's not how things are going to turn out at all. And so you should be fired up about achieving those goals, but not hold on to them in their specifics as tightly as you probably are holding on to them, because the most exciting things are going to happen unexpectedly to you. And so if you just try to narrow your path and this is who I'm going to be in 10 years, I think you'll likely be disappointed. But if you say you want to be in this general area or you want to satisfy these conditions in your life, and there are a lot of ways to do it, then probably have a higher likelihood of being satisfied with the result.
Okay. That's good. I can relate to that throughout my career and life as well, for sure. I'm curious, early before you started doing your own vlog stuff and then your own content, did you draw any inspirations from things that existed out there, or were you affected? You're like, oh, that's so cool. I'm going to be inspired to do something like that too. Or,
Yes, absolutely. I remember I was back home from college, and like my friend was working at Abercrombie and Fitch for kids, and I was painting houses and working as a busboy, and he would come over and we would just like open up our laptops and just like watch viral videos, just like watch funny videos on the internet and like pass them back and forth. And that was our way of watching TV, even back like in 2006, 7.
wow.
So yeah, I definitely got a lot of inspiration from just the kind of random acts of creativity back in the early internet. It felt very much, it was so pure back then. People were really like making stuff to make stuff and to reach out into the void and connect with people on things. And so, yeah, that was very formative to me. And then some of the early creators also, I'd say, I remember getting obsessed with like a Casey Neistat, like right when he was getting started. And this idea that you could be a filmmaker with a point of view and an aesthetic on YouTube or on digital platforms. Like I'd never even considered that. So
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And so, and then in you've also seemed to have a passion in the documentary space now, having directed the one that we mentioned earlier. What is a documentary or set of documentaries that has inspired you over the years? Or top four if we would do a letterbox thing, like
Yeah, yeah.
what four documentaries come to mind?
Okay, four documentaries. Hoop Dreams is my absolute number one. I think I watched it when I saw it in theaters when I was 15 years old, and it was just so powerful. And the the ability of a documentary to just drop you into someone else's life who has such a different experience than your own, and you can really just stay there and really
Mm,
experience it in such a profound way. And growing up as like a hoop head myself, like I thought I understood like basketball culture, but this is like just so mind blowing to me.
yeah.
Waiting for Superman, which
Mm,
is a Davis Guggenheim film about the education system in LA, was, yeah, heartbreaking and changed my mind on an issue. And I was
hmm.
also fairly young, but just for a film to do that. I guess the Seven Up series, the British filmmaking series of following people throughout their lives, is just such a insane concept that someone was able to pull that off, uh, and just kind of shows like how ambitious you really can be.
Wow.
And then number four, I guess When We Were Kings is probably like the most fun I've ever had watching a documentary. The Muhammad Ali, George Foreman film about their fight in Africa. I hope that's four. I think it is.
That's four. That is four. You got it.
Yeah,
So these
good.
are great. We'll probably put also links in the show notes as well for make sure people can check these out. I haven't seen any of these. I'm very
Oh,
embarrassed to
really?
say. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like documentaries, but I guess I don't like seek them out very often. One of the
Yeah.
most interesting documentaries, both in its execution and then also kind of its subject matter, was very interesting to me, was American Factory. Have you seen
Yeah.
that?
I thought that was so wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like balanced and nuanced.
Yeah, it's balanced and nuanced and very organic too. Like I don't know if they did any sit down interviews.
They
Like it just
didn't. No, it's all
just
verite, and it really told an amazing story.
so amazing. And then I hear
Yeah.
as far as behind the scenes, it's 1,200 hours of footage they edited down to
Jeez.
that
Yeah,
one.
yeah, right. Right.
I mean, my mind is just like, ugh. It's so
Yeah.
much content to have to twiddle down, if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of those. And then Crip Camp.
Yeah, I love that too.
Yeah, it's a great one. My
Very
brother had cerebral
heartfelt.
palsy, and so I like particularly
Yeah.
resonated with the story that told. So
Yeah.
yeah, those are some of my faves. Yeah, so as far as running a team, you have like 30 people you said. What's been your main tips and that you give yourself and that you've learned over the years as far as like delegating and leading and corralling?
Yeah. So this is one thing that pretty honest about that is really not my strength and running a team. And over time, I've sort of come to terms with that. And so everything that I've learned about running a team has come from my partners, who I do think have a very strong innate ability, and they've learned a lot about managing small teams, but then like building the culture of a creative company. And yeah, so from Zach, one of my partners, I've really learned the value of repetition and creating a consistent set of expectations and an identity and just coming back to it again and again and again. I'm someone who's like all over the place and likes to freestyle and change things at the last minute, but in order to build a culture over time, you really need to be very vigilant about holding a certain set of values and not wavering from them. And then from Kai, I really learned he's our creative director, and I've just watched him just raising the bar over time and setting it very high for people and then giving them the tools to reach it, but and then continuing to raise it once you've hit that milestone, well, it's going up and we're gonna shoot even higher. So those are, I think, on the general company management side, and then on the creative side, those seem to be the principles that have gotten us to where we are.
That's great. So what are your values?
Yes, treat people well is number one, whether it's clients or partners or people within the company, just taking like a people first mindset, and think big. Don't just do the bare minimum, and don't do what other people have done. Try to break the mold, try to bring in new ideas, and then make stuff. Have a maker mentality, and don't talk about making things, make things, and always be making.
Love that. Those are those are wonderful. And then as far as from the outsider looking in, or maybe it's a relative that's talking to you, or maybe it's a potential client that they don't even know it, or whatever else, what do you think is one of the big misunderstandings as far as what you and Portalay do? Like they just don't seem to get.
A misunderstanding is just that we still live in a kind of viral video world where you're making things and it's just dumb luck, or some like complete magic that allows it to reach a wide audience. And the truth is that there is an element of that, and every release you never know exactly where it's going to land. But the and social media spaces have evolved in a way that there is real strategy behind it, and you can really set yourself up for success. So yes, we're doing the creative and casting people, but we're also working hand in hand with the way that it's actually going to get out into the world, to make sure that when it is release day, like, we kind of know what's going to happen and we're set up to reach a big audience.
Okay, yeah. No, that's very good. And as far as like your general practice of how you like work with partners, so you have clients, you have either celebrities and or top makers on YouTube. Do you partner with external production houses, with directors? I know Jackson, one point in time I interviewed a few years ago, I know that he directs a lot of the things that you guys produce, but just curious of
Yeah.
how it like works now.
Yeah. So we engineered our company to be a one-stop shop for the most part. So it's pretty rare that we're partnering with other companies, because what we do is pretty specific, and we have all the capabilities to do that thing. So rarely we partner with like a post house or an external company, but we do work with freelance directors. Jackson is an in-house creative and directs a lot of things on on a lot of our work, but we do work with freelance directors. We will work with freelance VFX artists or other types of freelancers. And yeah, our team is basically broken up into project management, which deals with the clients and makes sure the trains are running on time, producers, creatives, talent, strategists, post production, and like business affairs.
Okay, gotcha. And then is it primarily in the docu kind of style space, the reality space, and or are you creating narrative content with creators and partners, or yeah, what's kind of the gamut?
Yeah, I'd say traditionally our work has been almost all non-scripted, if you can
Mm-hmm.
call it that. I mean, commercial type stuff, but not these aren't 30-second spots. They're work with creators that are kind of like hosted, non-scripted
Mm-hmm.
um, type videos. Most recently, we've gotten into some genre bending. That big campaign that we just launched, where two gamers were competing in a castle. There are a lot of like scripted elements where they're hyping each other up, and it's kind of like a promo you'd see for like an HBO boxing match, almost like that type of stuff. And we do a lot of genre pieces that are scripted, and we have done some fully scripted content with creators and without creators. We did a show for Snap Originals, a short form series called Action Royale, about like an esports underground esports ring. It was really cool, and we released a number of short films, scripted short films. My business partner Kai has done a couple. One called Robo that was really amazing and came out a couple years ago. So
Great.
yeah, we dabble in scripted, but I'd say most of our stuff is unscripted.
Gotcha. And then on day to day, where do you get to spend most of your time these days? You have a full company. You rely on your partners, I know, and divvying things up. And then I'm sure you have plenty of leadership underneath things that manage. But where do you gain the most joy in the day to day as far as what you get to do?
Yeah, I think I'm at my best and happiest when I'm working in a small group on some, with a common goal and trying to build something. So with this documentary, it was usually in like group of three or four when we are producing it, and then that it was like a group of three or four. So that's really where I thrive, and I do like the pitch process of kind of coming up with the idea, thinking about what the client wants, and again, that's kind of a small group. So that's really where I thrive.
Great. And then as far as any projects that you've worked on, is there any particular ones that you've worked on that have a special place in your heart?
Yeah. For about 10 years, we created this end of year video for YouTube called YouTube Rewind that was like a send up of all the biggest memes and creators on the platform from the past calendar year. It was like the Oscars. It wasn't an awards thing, but it carried that distinction for creators. We sort of created a whole new format. It was like a 8-minute music video with all these references baked into it. And so that was really cool to work on. And then it absolutely blew up. And then we did it every year. And every year was this Herculean effort and fitting all these pieces together. So that one was super formative for our company and definitely has a special place in my heart.
Nice. I love that. And then do you have any personal motto or aspect that you live by or that you like to tell your team or your kids or yourself in the mirror each day?
One of my favorite writers is this guy, Raymond Carver, and he has a quote that is about creativity, and it's take the news of one world to the other, or take the news of one world to another. And it's about this creative spark that comes from translating experiences or ideas or inspiration in one realm and trying to transport it somewhere else where it doesn't uh, where they don't know about it or it hasn't shown up yet. And I think that's a lot of what creative people do is just to kind of steal something from somewhere and try to transpose it to a different place in a way that like really resonates in that new environment. And yeah, that's been an inspiration.
I love that. Well, thank you very much. Is there anything else that you wish I asked and or that you're excited to share about?
No, this was super fun. Thank you so much.